Hello beautiful souls and welcome to my channel Roseology. So today's video we're diving into Venus retrograde. We're going to be looking into how this retrograde will affect you energetically, as well as some blessings that Venus is trying to bring your way. So Venus will be going retrograde May 13th, 2020 to June 25th, 2020 in the sign of Gemini. So if you already know which pile is meant for you, then you can head down to the timestamps in the description or the comment section. For now, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk about Venus retrograde and what this means for us collectively as she is retrograding in the sign of Gemini, okay? So, Venus is the planet of love, beauty, money, assets, resources, sex, sensuality, attraction. She is the planet embodying the divine feminine nature. And Venus is the reason that life does not feel like an existence, but it feels like an experience. So she brings some depth and vibrancy to life. Venus also rules the five senses. So she loves to stimulate the physical body. She loves to feel connected to the physical environment around her. So she really does help us to connect to our root chakra and opening us up that the way we can connect to the spirit through the physical body. She's really sort of like the energy that helps sort of facilitate that connection between the physical body and the spirit as we are connecting to the physical environment around us, spiritually, energetically connecting to the physical environment around us. So if it wasn't for Venus, life would feel very black and white. It will feel very dull. There will be no depth or dimension to it. So she really brings a lot of beauty to life, a lot of beauty to life. So Venus will be spending her retrograde in the sign of the twins, Gemini. And when a planet goes retrograde, it appears to move backwards, when in reality it's actually just slowing down. And I always describe retrogrades like when you're driving on the highway and you get off on an exit, and so you start to slow your car down. All of that velocity that was trailing you on the highway, trailing your car on the highway, has to go somewhere, right? So the momentum that planets build up from moving at such high speeds gets absorbed into that planet when they start to slow down during retrogrades. And retrograde planets turn in on themselves by taking in their own energy. And this is why we become much more introverted during retrogrades. If you were born with retrogrades in your chart, then you're probably more self-focused or self-conscious than on the people and the external environment around you. So when a planet eats its own momentum, it is consuming information about where it has traveled and everything that it has encountered. So we are absorbing the past by observing where we've been, and through the eyes of Venus, this has everything to do with our self-worth, our values, our relationships, and the things that we own, and our resources as well. So Venus retrograde is Venus making a pit stop in the sign of Gemini. She's collecting data in a very data-driven sign. Gemini is all about information, intel, knowledge, and learning. So we will be observing a lot about past choices and where we've come from. So mostly the relationship with ourself will be highlighted. We may feel a lot more self-conscious at this time. Venus retrograde in Gemini for me has one major theme, and that's don't count on other people to remind you of who you are. So many of us have been working to remember our own value by looking through the eyes of others or listening to the world around us. Venus retrograde in Gemini is the prescription that we need to help put our self-worth back into our own hands. So this is a beautiful time to work on limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, doubts, insecurities, and even fractured relationships, okay? Let's just get to this meditation. If you've already chosen a pile, then you can head to the description or comments for the timestamps to that pile. For those of you that want to participate in this meditation, let me just say, like I always do, this is a general reading for the collective. And in order for this reading to resonate with you, you have to be synced into the energy of this reading. To help you do that and to help you select a pile with your third eye, not your physical ones, I'll be offering a 60-second meditation. 30 seconds into this meditation, I will be placing crystals for those that like to pick piles with objects on them. If you are drawn to another pile, that may be because there's another message for you in that pile. So if you are ready, get into a relaxed position, become aware of your entire body, starting with your feet and working that awareness up in sections from the feet to the head. Then take a deep breath in through your nose for around 5 seconds. Hold that breath for 3 seconds, then exhale for 6 to 7 seconds. Then ask your guides, spirit, the universe, or all of them to connect you to your higher self to reveal the message that's meant for you. This is pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. We'll start that meditation right now. All right, here on pile 1, we have a crystal quartz geode. On pile 2, a dendritic agate. On pile 3, honey calcite. And pile 4, septarian. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds to meditate with the crystals on each pile. All right, hopefully that meditation was enough time for you to pick a pile and tap into your own psychic awareness. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, Spirit itself, and of course Venus for coming through and delivering these messages today. Now let's see what this Venus retrograde has in store for you, and I will meet you at your pile. All right, in pile number 1, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with your tarot cards before making our way to your oracle cards here. And so yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. So this card all the way over here to the left will be showing me the areas in your life that this Venus retrograde is trying to highlight or is trying to bring to your attention, okay? So let's see what Venus retrograde is trying to bring to your attention. And we have here the Seeker of Cups in reverse, otherwise known as the Page of Cups in reverse, okay? All right, pile 1. So I don't know if you guys have been dating or in a relationship, maybe looking for the one, or what's up with your dating life, but Venus retrograde is highlighting your relationships, particularly how it is that you attract people in. There's something that she wants you to connect the dots to in terms of relationships and friends, but definitely romantic partnerships is being highlighted here. So if you've been frustrated with dating or feeling like you keep picking the same person, Venus is asking you to observe how you attract these people into your life. Everyone has a certain scent, I guess you could call it, that we put out into the atmosphere when we're trying to draw someone in or draw something in, right? And when I say scent, I mean a method. So maybe for you, it's how you look or it's how you dress. It could be the way you hold a conversation or walk. Everyone has a prop or a tool that they use when it comes to attracting someone in. So Venus wants you to look at what that is, especially if you've been disappointed with the people in your life lately. So outside of dating, if you've been having any difficulties with any of your relationships, she is encouraging you to look at your love language. There's something about how you communicate here, because words and language don't make up even 50% of communication. We are always communicating and expressing something. So what is it exactly that you are saying without saying anything? There we go. That's what it is. That's what it is. Venus wants you to ask yourself, what are you communicating outside of words? What does your clothes say, or your hair, or your body language, your eyes, your actions? This is where things are getting lost in translation in your relationships, pile 1. Whether romantic, family, business, or platonic, that's what the connection has been lost to. So for many of you, Venus retrograde is going to be highlighting fractures, wounds, and bruises in your relationships, the relationships that seem to be off or not communicating properly. So this is really all about how it is that you communicate outside of words. So when you're not using words to express yourself, what are you expressing? What are you saying without words? Very, very important. That's what she is trying to really highlight in your life, is the way that people see you. Why do they see you the way that they see you? If that's something that's been frustrating you or kind of plaguing you or causing you some issues lately, or if it's just something that you've been aware of lately, this is just really all about why people receive you or perceive you in the way that they do. And she really is bringing she's really bringing a lot of attention to that for this Venus retrograde, okay? So let's go ahead and check out this tarot card in the middle to see some things that Venus retrograde and Gemini wants you to watch out for, okay? And we have here the Sovereign of Swords in reverse, otherwise known as the Queen of Swords in reverse, okay? And so with the Queen of Swords in reverse, again, this is communication. So the Queen of Swords, she is all about effective communication. She is to the point, she is direct, and she is painfully clear in communicating her truth. So with this in reverse, this is telling me that some of your insecurities may come crashing in because some of your relationships may feel very out of touch or out of whack, but no one is communicating it. So you know how you have those weird feelings with friends or your partner or your family? One second, you guys, it's a plane. So you know those weird feelings that you might get when you hang out with like your friends or your partner or your family or, you know, somebody in your life. And like, let's just say like maybe you go over their house and hang out and it's not like it normally is. They kind of seem like they're in a weird mood, or maybe you have a weird conversation where you just walk away feeling a little disturbed or a little indifferent or just a little shaken up, or just like, even if it's none of those emotions, it might just be like, I don't even know what that was right there. Like there was something there, but I don't know exactly what it was. So it's like, it's these weird feelings that either you have or the other person has. Like it's this weird chemistry that's kind of present in your relationships, but no one's mentioning it because no one wants to be seen as the person that's like starting issues, when in reality it would just be an acknowledgement of whatever may be happening underneath the surface. So it's like, you know, no one wants to look like they're being sensitive or like they're being irrational or like they're being emotional or like they're just being annoying. You know, no one wants to look like that person. Everyone's really trying to maybe protect their pride or protect their ego or trying to keep it intact. So it's like no one really sort of wants to get to that vulnerable place where they're saying like, hey, you know, there's something weird going on here. Is it just me? Or, you know, like what's going on? But there has to be a level of vulnerability in order for those types of conversations to arise, in order for those types of conversations to feel comfortable enough when it comes to, you know, expressing them and saying them. You know, it has to be the environment has to be right for that type of vulnerability to really take place. So, you know, with no one talking about this weird feeling, it may bring some insecurities to the surface because some part of you is going to acknowledge this off feeling. You know, part of you is going to be able to acknowledge the chemistry is weird here. Not every part of you will be able to ignore the weird chemistry. And that's where this Queen in reverse is coming from right here. This Queen of Swords in reverse. She's trying to tell you to acknowledge it, to see it. Maybe you don't need to say anything just yet or act on it just yet, but you have to at least be able to admit that there's a weird feeling or a weird chemistry. There's a weird vibe, you know? And Venus wants you to get more comfortable with what you feel, especially if you are an empath or a sensitive. Okay, she wants you to get more comfortable with being vulnerable, with being a little bit more transparent. Many times my empaths and sensitives can feel so guilty or awkward or inconvenient for the vibes that you guys pick up on, because it feels like you're the only one that can feel this and you don't want to rock the boat, or you don't want to be the one that starts a heavy conversation. But what is your truth? Do you feel it? What are you feeling? Why are you feeling it? Venus in Gemini is gathering a lot of intel, so it's important to acknowledge the data that she is bringing to you. Don't feel guilty about how it is that you feel either. You have every right to feel what it is that you feel. So one main thing that Venus in going retrograde in Gemini really wants my pile ones to watch out for is she's going to be attracting a lot of different vibes to you, because these vibes, this chemistry is information. And so right now what we're really attracting with Venus going retrograde in Gemini is information to us. And you're going to be attracting in information that you might not know what to do with. She's not necessarily asking you to process this right now. She's not necessarily asking you to decipher it, to try and figure it out, to decode it. She's just asking you to at least be able to open your eyes and realize it, to acknowledge it, basically. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out this card over here to see the blessings that Venus is trying to bring you for this retrograde. And we have here the Two of Swords. Okay, so a blessing that Venus retrograde is bringing in pile one is blind truth and admittance. It's just blind truth. There's things that you've been picking up on for a while, possibly pile one, but your eyes have been manipulating you. So do you see how the eyes in this card here? Do you see how there's a blindfold going around their eyes, but their third eye is enhanced? It's almost enlarged. It's almost magnified, right? Because their eyes are covered up. So their sixth sense kicks into overdrive. Okay. The eyes are, our physical eyes are another medium or tool for information, but sometimes when you have too much data coming in, it can overwhelm us. So sometimes we have to cover our eyes and just receive the truth without allowing the eyes to try to turn it into something else to make it more digestible for us. So there's two big revelations coming to many of my pile ones this Venus retrograde. But listen, this is a really good thing because you're going to have to sit with this, and you having time to take in this information is going to really give you a lot of strength, direction, and clarity to decide how it is that you want to move forward. So you've never really been in this position before where it's like, I have all this information coming into me, or coming into my world, coming into my frame. But now I actually have the space, time, and opportunity to just sit with the information. So this is going to be very, very different for many of my pile ones. So if you want, this is really going to help you decide. So this is really going to help you decide if you want certain people around or whatever it may be. If you want certain people, certain habits, certain lifestyles, certain routines, whatever this may be. If you want to keep those same things in your life, or if you want to change some things around, reorient them, get rid of some things, it's going to be totally up to you, but you're going to have the time and the space that you need to really marinate on this information that you are sort of being bombarded with to decide how it is that you want to move forward with this information. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here, because this is a really big blessing that's coming in for my pile ones. I don't know if maybe you guys just are normally busy, like go, 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 go. And so maybe it was a little bit difficult for you to really take information before and figure out what to do with it. But that's not going to be the case with my Venus retrograde people. Okay, so let's go on ahead and just check out. We're just going to start with the cards. Let's just go ahead and start with the cards. So the very first astrological cards that we have here is the 5th house, and it says this is the house of self-expression and the pleasure of showing who we truly are. Here we see one's creativity and artistic vision, how we like to have fun, playfulness, and pleasure, games of chance, love affairs, and also children. 5th house is ruled by Leo and the Sun, and it says I create down here. And then we have the 3rd house, and it says this is the house of the mind and ideas. Here's where we see the concrete thinking, thoughts, communication, mental agility, and the capacity to relate to the most immediate and daily social environment like siblings or neighbors. Okay, and it says I think 3rd house is ruled by Gemini and Mercury. So like I was saying, I think and I create. This is all about you sort of gathering information and figuring out what it is that you want to do with it. Basically, this is really all up to you. You're in the driver's seat here in terms of this information that's coming in. The next card that we have here is Spider-Woman co-creation. Beautiful. Exactly like I was saying, you are a co-creator. You're just figuring out what to do with this information, and then you're going to go off with that information and create your environment. And then we have here Justice, and it says by the power of 3x3 Ma'at delivered justice to me. Beautiful. And we have the card here of Perception. And then for your 2 relationship cards, we have, look at this, you guys. What was I saying? Heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. And then wow, it says it is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. This is just really speaking to my empaths and sensitives here, this card, for sure. So, okay. Let's go ahead and again start off with 3rd house. And the 5th house. So like I was saying, the 3rd house rules Gemini and Mercury. The 5th house is ruled by the Sun and Leo. So Mercury shows how we communicate and perceive. So again, communication coming through. The Sun, ruled by the 5th house, is our ego and integrity. So like I mentioned earlier, be careful of your insecurities being the ones on the other end of the phone communicating with you, because they will have a very different perception. We have the perception card here. Your insecurities are going to have a very different perception of the truth. Okay, so your ego or insecurities could be spinning a certain narrative that isn't all the way accurate, and you want to be careful of this because it can cause some disharmony and imbalance with your relationships. And we have the Justice card here. Justice is all about balance. So if you are speaking from a place of fear or insecurity, if you are speaking from a place of fear or insecurity or a fragile ego, rather than discernment, you may end up hurting the other person or yourself. And you want to be careful of this because look here, you are definitely co-creating, Spider-Woman card here. You are co-creating this environment and the atmosphere that is present in your relationships. So be careful about creating a narrative. Make sure that it's not fictional. And the only way to do that is with discernment and not fear. Fear is not necessarily a very valuable source of information or a very viable source of information, a very accurate, reliable source of information. Fear is not a reliable source of information. Discernment is. You know why? Because discernment is, like I was talking about in the beginning of this video, discernment is the one that allows us to take in information, whether that information is scary, bad, negative, dark, heavy, good, light, bright, whatever the case. Discernment allows us to take in information. It gives us that moment of pause where we're receiving information and we are allowed to logically and rationally observe the information and the intel that's coming into us. Fear is when we are receiving information, but we are converting it into some sort of emotion. We're converting it into something else. Fear can cause us to act irrationally, you know? And so that's why we have to be very careful about allowing in certain emotions like fear, anger, things like that. I know some people say that these are really useful emotions. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying that if you want the most out of the information that you are receiving, it is better to use discernment first rather than converting it into some sort of emotion. Because emotion really spins a different narrative. And we don't want to spin the narrative of the facts that we're receiving. We want to just take it in and observe it, okay? So this is how we remove the ego. This is how we remove ourselves. And we put ourselves in that sort of third person point of view where we're just really looking from a bird's eye view of what it is that is going on. And it really helps us to act in a way that is more rational, more logical, more effective, more productive than emotion can. Okay, so yeah, this is all that I'm seeing for my pile ones. More than anything, it really does look like a pretty good Venus retrograde in my opinion, but this is all that I'm seeing for my pile one. So thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your beautiful guides, my beautiful guides, our higher self, amazing spirit itself, and of course Venus for coming through and delivering this message today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, and pile number 2, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with your tarot cards before getting to your oracle cards. And this card all the way over here to the left is going to be showing me what it is that Venus will be highlighting or trying to bring to your attention for this retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so let's go on ahead and take a look. And the very first card that we have here is the Anchor in reverse, otherwise known as the Emperor in reverse. Okay, so one thing Venus retrograde is highlighting for you, pile 2, is your boundaries. She's not saying that you need to establish better ones. She's saying that you need to loosen up on some of them. So this Emperor card being in reverse is accentuating the toxic boundaries that we can create sometimes due to past disappointments, traumas, or betrayals. The pain that we feel from situations, very intense situations like that, can cut so deep that we develop these unconscious and subconscious restrictions where we keep ourselves from living and experiencing because we are so afraid of the pain. We're so afraid of being hurt. We're so afraid of repeating a similar painful, intense situation. So this is a completely natural reaction to have when you get hurt. But Venus wants you to ask yourself if your boundaries have gone too far. Are you too strict on yourself or others? Are you too unforgiving of yourself or others? Are you too hard on yourself or others? Do you expect too much from yourself or others? The way you know if it's gone too far, that it's no longer healthy or effective, is when we or others in our life start to feel claustrophobic, suffocated, constricted, when relationships go from comfortable to feeling like I'm walking around barefoot in a field of hidden landmines, walking on eggshells, you know that saying. So if people feel uncomfortable because they don't want to set you off or trigger you or make you upset or cause you to pull away even further, now people are acting out of fear, pressure, or anxiety, and that is not healthy. Or it could be you acting out of fear, pressure, or anxiety because you don't want to set yourself off, or maybe it's somebody else that you're trying to protect or keep from pulling away from you. So now it could be you that's acting, like I was saying, out of fear, pressure, or anxiety. But either way, Venus retrograde is saying, where can you loosen up a bit, because you may be choking the life or energy out of your own self. Now, Venus is also trying to highlight where you can do things differently, where you can be a bit more flexible or adaptable. What areas in life are you willing to change? What areas can you lay down your arms or defense mechanisms? There's something that you're paying for because of the past, and you are overpaying now at this point. So for instance, if someone like a friend betrayed you in the past, you may still be paying for that, and you were never supposed to pay for it in the first place, but you may be still paying for that by thinking that everyone is fake and not allowing anyone in. If you grew up impoverished or struggling to make ends meet, you may still be paying for that by telling yourself, I'm the only one I can ever depend on. Maybe someone broke your heart and you're still paying for it by thinking, if I just change this or alter that about myself, then I'll feel more confident. Then I'll feel better about myself. Then I'll be able to find the one. You may still be paying for the past by seeking revenge, holding a grudge, not forgiving. What past are you still paying for that has already been paid in full? What past are you still paying for that you never had to pay for? So this is really all about Venus asking you, what are you sacrificing that you don't need to pay for? What are you investing in that never wanted you to put your resources into? What are you investing in that never wanted your resources? What are you paying for that never wanted your time, energy, or money? This is something that Venus really wants you to think of, okay? Let's go ahead and check out this card in the middle to see what it is that Venus wants you to be careful of, or be a little bit more cautious of during this Venus retrograde. And we have here the Sun. Beautiful. Okay. So I just heard, don't fly too close to the sun, pile 2. So we just talked about areas in your life where you could be less restrictive. But that doesn't mean forget about everything that's led you to where you're at either, okay? So if you've been struggling with forgiving someone for hurting you, for instance, let's just take that for example, you don't want to hold a grudge against them, because that's just a blockage that ultimately ends up hurting you, not the other person. Or it ends up, restricting you, limiting you, keeping you blocked, not the other person. But that also doesn't mean forgive them and allow them back into your life without consequences and or healthy boundaries. There's a nice medium that you have to find here, pile 2, because it seems like the energy here is very either left or right, black or white. There's no gray area, no in between. This seems like very fixed energy. But Venus retrograde in Gemini will keep us from discriminating against information and intel. So this may be why this retrograde will have you shuffling back and forth between one extreme to the next. One day you may feel like, you know what, fuck you, I'm out of here, I'll never speak to you again. And a couple days later, when the dust sort of settles, you may be wondering if you took things a little too far, or if you could have, or if you should have a conversation. So there's a nice balance that Venus in retrograde is encouraging my pile 2s to find. So this will test you, because some of you may be a Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, or Aquarius. Like I was saying, there's some fixed energy here. And so especially if you have some fixed energy in your chart, or if you are a fixed energy, sun, moon, rising especially, then this is really going to test you. This Venus retrograde is really going to test you, because this is very either or type of energy, and normally this would work fine for you, but because Venus is in an adaptable, fluid sign like Gemini, this is shaking your core up where you might not feel so sure of yourself and your decisions like usual, as well as the sun rules our ego. So Venus in retrograde wants you to heal the ego. That the way it isn't forcing this persona. Okay, so one thing that Venus in retrograde really wants you to look out for, pile 2, is your ego. Taking things a little too far because you were trying to protect your ego. She wants you to heal that ego. That the way the ego isn't the one that you are acting from. That the way the ego isn't the space or the center that you are reacting and responding, or acting from, or behaving from. She wants you to really heal that. Okay, that the way you're not acting from a fragile ego, or a damaged ego, or a threatened ego, or an intimidated ego. That is when we perform at our worst, when we are acting from a space of a fractured, damaged, threatened, intimidated ego, weakened ego. Okay, so she really wants you to heal and strengthen up your ego. That the way it's really not influencing you, in a sense, sort of influencing you to react or respond or do something that's a little bit that's not necessarily in accordance with who you are, okay? She doesn't want you to look back on certain things that you've done during Venus retrograde and regret them or feel ashamed of them. Or, you know, she doesn't want you to lose any pride that you have in yourself. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and check out the blessings it is that Venus may be bringing to my pile twos. And we have here the Seven of Swords in reverse. All right. So the main blessing that Venus retrograde is bringing to my pile threes here, or my pile twos here, I'm sorry. I want to keep calling you guys pile three. I don't know why. But one of the main blessings that Venus retrograde is bringing to my pile twos here is no more selling yourself short. No more of others selling you short. No more of your ego selling you short anymore. The biggest blessing here is the past no longer being able to steal any part of your future away, because Venus retrograde is helping you to dissolve your past in a way where you metabolize it like we do with our food. The body only keeps the nutrients that it needs and it discards of everything else. And that's what this Venus retrograde is helping you to do with your past. She's helping you to locate and keep the nutrients of past lessons and experiences, but she wants you to discard of everything else that left you feeling confused, discombobulated, out of order, disempowered. This is why you may have such a firm foot down about how to handle certain people in certain situations, because you've been there before where you felt powerless or at the mercy of someone else. And this is the medicine that you needed or used at the time to reestablish your own sense of personal power and direction. You know, at first, your medicine used to be, I just need to make up my mind and not budge. I just need to be more stubborn. I need to be more rigid. When I say something, I need to follow through with it. I need to have a really powerful follow through. You know, that used to be your medicine, but you've used all that medicine up. You no longer need it. You've been healed of your past, but you have to believe that you have been healed of it. You don't have to keep such high reinforced walls and barriers up between you and the world. Venus is saying that it's safe now. Trust yourself to know how to deal with people in situations that once left you feeling weak or powerless. You are not going to allow that to happen again. So it's okay. So it's okay for you to trust yourself. It's okay for you to trust yourself, and it's okay for you to know that these things, these certain experiences are not going to happen to you anymore. Whatever it is that's sort of scaring you from either getting close to someone else or, you know, being vulnerable or allowing people in, that experience is behind you. You don't have to worry about that experience occurring or happening again. It's behind you, okay? It's definitely behind you. With the Sun here and the Seven of Swords in reverse, just reading these from a general standpoint, you don't necessarily have to worry about that anymore. So it's okay for you to move forward now. It's okay for you to move on now with an open heart and with an open mind. You don't have to be so closed off. You sort of encapsulating yourself like you did in the past when you were dealing with something heavy or dark or difficult or painful. That was your medicine back then. You've been prescribed new medicine. And the new medicine here is it's okay for you to move forward with an open heart and with an open mind. It's okay for you to love. It's safe now. It's safe for you to feel these things. It's safe for you to feel emotions. It's safe for you to allow people in. It's safe for you to let those walls down and those boundaries down just a little bit. It's safe for you to do that now, okay? Let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here. See what else it is that we're seeing. The very first card that we have here is Mars, okay? The next card that we have here is Aquarius, all right? It's funny too because I mentioned you may be an Aquarius because there's some fixed energy here. Aquarius is a fixed air sign, and Mars here is very masculine energy, very much so like the Emperor, the anchor here. So it's funny that these cards are coming up like that. The next card that we have here is Metis, wisdom. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Forgive me if I'm not. And the time is 12:12 right now, so that may be significant for you. And the next card that we have here is authenticity. Who I truly am is good indeed. I am authentic in thought, word, and deed. Yeah. Sounds a lot like masculine energy to me as well. The next card that we have here is destiny. All that I shall need to know as I walk shall now be shown. Wow. That's powerful. The next card that we have here is truth. Yeah. This is funny. This is really funny. And the final two relationship cards that we have here is chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. And playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Wow. Okay. I don't know why, but I just heard 3, the number 3. So 3 weeks. I don't know if something maybe happened 3 weeks ago. If something's going to happen 3 weeks from now. If you're in like a 3-week period of something. I don't know, but I just heard 3 and then 3 weeks. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get to your oracle cards because I'm not sure what that means. Maybe that's just something specific for a couple of you here. So yeah, wisdom. Let's start with wisdom. I told you guys that you know what to do now, so you can definitely trust yourself. So some other blessings that Venus is bringing in now is destiny and authenticity. So like I was saying, you don't have to worry about dealing with certain situations again. You're safe from that. That is not something that you have to be worried about anymore. And what I'm getting from these 2 cards here, destiny and authenticity, is ordained partners and partnerships are coming into your life, or Venus at the very least is preparing you for these people and relationships to come into your life at some point in the future here. So that could be why I heard 3 weeks. Maybe for some of you, you're going to meet someone 3 weeks from now, or something maybe solidified 3 weeks from now. I'm not sure. So, these will be the destined, authentic relationships that you've been needing, wanting, waiting, and asking for. The truth is so important for you. It's so important to you. With this truth, the anchor, what else is here? Otherwise known as the Emperor, the Sun, and the 7 of Swords here. Yeah, the truth is something that is extremely, extremely important to you. And like it says in this destiny card here, all that I shall need to know as I walk shall now be shown. You have walked a very long journey. You have seen everything it is that you need to see. You've been shown all the truths that you've needed to be shown. And that is how it has accrued into wisdom. That is why it is safe for you now, because it is turned into wisdom. Truth is just simply data. It's just simply information. It's facts. It's things that come in that we are able to observe. And if we know what to do with that data, we know how to take it and convert it into knowledge. Then we take knowledge and we convert it into wisdom. So basically, knowledge can evolve to wisdom, or it can devolve into information. Not that information is invaluable. Info is definitely of value, but it's not knowledge just yet. It's still just data. So an observation of perceived facts or data accrues to knowledge when we use data to obtain success or consistency. Consistent results, right? Consistent success. Knowledge becomes wisdom when we are able to maintain successful solutions or establish a consistent return of data and information. If I add 2 + 1, I get 3. If I subtract 2 from 3, I get 1. If I subtract 1 from 3, I get 2. So this shows a consistent pattern of data. This foundation of knowledge imparts wisdom, a solution or pattern that is visible, logical. It makes sense, right? So that's all it is. It's a solution or a pattern that is visible, logical, or that makes sense. It's buildable information, aka opportunities. So this is how knowledge becomes power. And this is exactly what is happening for you, Pile 2. Venus is turning your knowledge into power. She's turning your journey into wisdom. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful to me here. So you can definitely trust yourself for sure. And that's exactly what Aquarius represents in the zodiac. Aquarius is the next to last sign in the zodiac. It's the 11th sign in the zodiac wheel. Aquarius is the one that's been through so many different experiences. He's been through a very long journey, and he comes directly after Capricorn. Capricorn was the culmination of his journey. It was that final, final boss level in the video game that he had to sort of encounter or defeat or, acknowledge, whatever the case. And so he walks away with a lot of wisdom, and he wouldn't have been able to pick up this wisdom at any other process in the zodiac wheel, at any other point in the zodiac wheel. He had to go through the things that he had to go through. You had to go through certain things to become the wise person that you are, to get closer to your destiny, to really find your own authenticity, to find people, to bring people, to attract people into your life that are authentic, that are on their destined path, that have a lot of wisdom, that are that are living in their truth. Now, chemistry and playfulness is telling me that you'll catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. You probably have a beautiful smile, pile 2. You may have been complimented on your smile before, because when you aren't so serious or guarded, that's when you really shine, like the sun card here. But you might be afraid to shine because you may feel like every time you let your guard down, people take advantage. And that's why Venus is helping to invite or attract in ordained, destined, authentic partnerships and people to you, so you can be playful and let your guard down without having to worry about who's trying to take advantage, who's possibly going to stab me in the back. Mars and Aquarius energy here. Yes, you may definitely have some fixed energy in your chart, like I was talking about. Aquarius, like I mentioned, is a fixed air sign, and Mars rules Aries, a cardinal fire sign, and Scorpio, a fixed water sign. But Mars is the energy of the Emperor all day, because this is masculine, protective, proactive, yang dominant energy. But Venus may be affecting the part of your chart ruled by Aquarius, and wherever Mars is transiting in your chart, or wherever your natal Mars may be stationed in your chart. But Aquarius and Mars here, these two cards are saying push forward with expanded perspective, with unbiased perspective. Move forward with an open mind and heart, and trust yourself. Aquarius is a sign with natural confidence and assurance because of everything that it's been through. So this is the energy that Venus retrograde wants you to embrace and absorb completely. This is the energy that she's trying to get you to absorb. Like I was talking about, if you listen to the beginning of this video, when I was talking about what exactly Venus retrograde is and what exactly retrograde means, and it's all about absorbing all of that momentum. So this is exactly what Venus is trying to say here. She's trying to really get you to absorb this confidence and assurance that you have picked up along your way throughout your journey. Your journey has the ability to provide you with a lot more confidence and assurance and self-worth. Okay, so this is really beautiful for my pile 2s. I'm excited for you guys' Venus retrograde here, because it looks like there's so much coming in. This chemistry card is really sticking out to me. Like, it's sticking out so much to me. So I don't know, maybe you guys are on track to meeting somebody pretty soon if you haven't already. Okay, but yes, this is all that I am seeing for my pile 2s. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I do pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your beautiful guides, my beautiful guides, our higher self, Spirit itself, and of course Venus, for coming through and delivering these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, and pile number 3, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with your tarot cards before getting to your oracle cards. And this tarot card all the way over here to the left will be showing me what it is that Venus is trying to highlight or bring to your attention during her retrograde in the sign of Venus. So let's go ahead and take a look. And we have here the Devil in reverse. Okay. All right, pile 3. So Venus retrograde in Gemini is highlighting the places that you overindulge, pile 3. So this is interesting because Venus is all about satisfaction and gratification, right? But all things must be done in moderation to maintain healthy balance. So without balance, we're unstable, unable to compose or maintain any sort of parallel, right? So Venus is asking you, where have you gone too far? And chances are you know exactly what this is, exactly what she is asking you about. Where have you given away your sense of control or authority? Where have you stopped regulating and governing your own life? What are you trying to look away from? We never want to look up at our vices or the things that bring us comfort, because we know when we look up, we're going to see someone else in our own driver's seat. We're going to see someone holding us hostage. We're going to see shackles around our hands, neck, and feet. We're going to recognize this prison, and it's going to hurt even more to know that we're the ones that walked right in, locked the door, and threw away the key to our own freedom of choice. Free will is all we have in this life, pile 3. That's it. That's the only thing that we will ever truly own. And when we give that away to our past, our demons, our vices, our weaknesses, our shadow, ego, fears, whatever it may be, another person, we give away the keys to our own freedom. Venus wants to know, where have you given away the one and only thing you've ever truly owned. Even spirit respects our free will to choose and would never impose upon that. Nothing in this universe can strip us of our free will. We have to give it away. So we may lie and tell ourselves that we don't have a choice, because sometimes that's easier to believe, right? So has that happened to you? And if so, then when and where in your life has that happened? It's really important to be honest about this and say, where have I sort of dropped the ball a bit in my life? Where have I sort of just allowed things to kind of just unfold as they wanted to? Where have I sort of taken my eyes off of, or what part of my life have I sort of removed my gaze from? Because it's really important to take a look at that, take a really brutally honest look at that. And, even if you don't try to regain control over that part of your life, it's just important to be able to notice, okay, here's where I've sort of slacked up a bit. All right, so let's go on ahead and check out this middle card here to see what it is that Venus wants you to watch out for during this retrograde, okay? And we have here the Pillar in reverse, otherwise known as the Empress in reverse. Wow, okay. So Venus wants you to watch out for her. Venus wants you to be on the lookout for what you are attracted to, because that's the thing that gets many of my pile threes. You may be a heart-centered person where if something calls out to you, you just go for it because it speaks to you. You desire it or want it, and you might not put much thought into the consequences or the future or the outcome of these actions. But everything that looks good isn't good, right? Just because the heart wants something doesn't mean that it's healthy or meant for us. That's why the divine gave us more than just our heart center to consult. Spirit also equipped us with a brain full of rationality to help us calculate the pros and cons of certain choices. So what Venus wants you to watch out for is your heart. Until you pinpoint exactly why you want the things you want, watch out for it, because we can decipher the heart. We can become fluent in the language of the heart. Many people think emotions just are what they are. We feel what we feel and we don't know why. We don't have much control over it. But that's actually not true. To say that we don't know why we feel what we feel is another way to disempower the self. Our wants and needs always stem from something deeper, and we know where these things are stemming from. All we have to do is dive into them. So dive into why you want the things that you do, why you are attracted to them, why you are attracted to the people that you are, why you spend your time doing the things that you do. Venus is pushing you to exercise your power of insight. So this is all about looking inwards, okay? Let's go ahead and check out the blessings it is that Venus is trying to bring into your life, pile 3. And we have here the Judgment card in reverse. Another reversal. Pile 3, this is so deep. The parts of you that have felt dead or stripped of life force energy will be springing back to life. It's a matter of regaining control over yourself, your life, and your actions, or how you spend your time. There's something here Venus wants you to reclaim, and when you do that, so much life is going to come back to you. Parts of you may have felt dead because you've been numbing or distracting yourself with a certain action, vice, habit, lifestyle, whatever it may be. And this habit, what you participate in, kills your virtue. You walk away feeling worse or guilty, remorseful, regretful, or ashamed, and this strips you of your pride. A healthy dose of pride is not a bad thing. What's bad is the depravity that we invite in when we do something that makes us feel worse about ourselves. It's a toxic cycle of offense that we abuse ourselves with. So the biggest blessing here is you resurrecting that pure, innocent, or noble part of yourself. This part of yourself has been oppressed by guilt, shame, or regret, but even this part of yourself forgives you. That part of yourself that may feel dead wants you to know, I forgive you. I forgive you if you've been doing things that you know are unhealthy or toxic for you, that you know are going to bring you down, that you know are going to affect you in a way where you disconnect from me, where you disconnect from your most pure self, where you disconnect from your most genuine self, where you disconnect from your inner child. That part of you is saying, I forgive you. It's fine. I'm still here. One thing that's coming up for me, and this might be for a very small amount of you, but if you're struggling with some sort of substance abuse, addiction, something like that, the thing is that when we struggle with substances, I struggled with that for almost 2 years of my life. I struggled with substance abuse. And the thing is that when we're struggling with something like that, every time we use, we feel a little bit worse, right? You know, it's like every time we use, like we feel like, okay, you get that initial high, you get that initial, you know, numb feeling where you don't really feel the issues, you don't really feel the pain, you don't really feel whatever it is that you're trying to escape. And then you start to come down, you know, you start to come back to yourself. And in that moment of coming back is when you have that choice of, okay, I have to either use again, or I have to sit here with that feeling of reconnection. It's almost like reconnecting to the self, like plugging your computer into the wall and powering it up. It's like every time you come down off that high, off that using whatever it is that you're using, it doesn't necessarily have to be drugs, it could be social media, it could be food, it could be perfection, it could be exercising, it could be anything, it could be the Real Housewives, you know, it could be anything. But every time we come down off of that high, it's almost like somebody plugging our own electrical cord back into the outlet. And it's like we come back to ourselves and we're like, okay, now I have to deal with whatever it is I've been trying to escape. And so when we use, it creates this really nasty cycle of I'm coming back down, I'm coming back to myself. Do I want to avoid it or do I want to deal with myself? And when you're in a toxic cycle of abusing substances, you definitely don't want to come back to yourself. You definitely don't want to reconnect to the self. You want to stay as far away as possible. And like I was saying, it creates this really bad cycle of abusing substances, and it quickly turns into addiction. And the thing that we don't realize when we're using is like, we're just adding on guilt. We're just piling on guilt. We're piling on guilt. We're piling on shame. We're piling on regret. We're piling on remorse. We're piling on feeling like shit about ourselves because it's like, damn it, I used again. You know, we're piling on that shame that comes from that lack of self-control, that comes from the shame that comes from running away from our problems, running away from our issues, running away from our life. You know, there's so much shame that comes with it. And so every time we use, we're piling on even more shame. And we're already trying to escape this really big monster that feels like it's chasing us, right? And so it's like, you know, when we use, we are feeding that monster that we're trying to run away from. We're literally feeding the same exact thing that we are trying to run away from. But when we are stuck in a cycle of abuse, when we are stuck in a cycle of victimization, the devil here, that's exactly what the devil represents. It's a state of victimization. I am shackled even though I don't have to be. In the devil card, when we're looking at the devil card depicted from the Rider-Waite Coleman Smith deck, they're not trying to get away. They're not trying to escape those shackles. They're standing right there to show that they are voluntarily shackled. It's of their own volition. It's of their own free will that they are choosing to be shackled. That's why I keep talking about your free will, pile 3. This is your free will. That's the only thing that we own in this existence, is our free will. And so it's up to us what we choose to do with it. But the more that you feed whatever this may be that is bringing you shame in your life, it might not be addiction, whatever it is that is bringing you shame in your life, the more that you choose to feed it, the more that you are choosing to feel worse about yourself, to feel more ashamed of yourself. Okay, there's a cycle here where you're feeding the same monster that you're trying to escape. And it's a cycle that has to be broken. So you walking away feeling worse or guilty or remorseful or regretful is really stripping you of your pride. And like I was saying, a healthy dose of pride is a really good thing. That's a really good thing. So the biggest blessing here, pile 3, for you is you resurrecting that pure, innocent, or noble part of yourself that's been oppressed by guilt, shame, or regret, but even this part of you forgives you. And that's why judgment is here in reverse, to say forgive yourself. So there's a lot of self-love, acceptance, and forgiveness that is coming to you, pile 3. And that's the biggest blessing for you to receive for this Venus retrograde, where it's really going to establish a sense of self-esteem. It's going to reestablish that pride. As well as if you've been waiting for something to come in, like a job or an acceptance letter, you're going to be hearing news of that by the end of this Venus retrograde. I just heard that. Okay, so if you've been waiting for some sort of information, a decision, something like that, that is coming to you, you're going to be hearing something about that by the end of this Venus retrograde. So by June 25th, very many of my pile threes, you're going to be hearing some sort of news in that if you've been waiting for that. Okay. Let's go on ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here. And I'm just realizing too, we also have all three of these cards are major arcana cards. So this Venus retrograde is not going to go easy on my pile threes. It's going to be pretty intense because this is really going to be intensely engaging the deepest parts of you. Okay, so it's gonna feel intense. The very first card that we have here is Juno. Look at that. So Juno is the part of our chart that sort of shows us a divine partner, a divine partnership. Okay, the next card that we have here is the Moon. Beautiful. The next card that we have here is Parvati, devotion. Beautiful. Then Persephone, an experience. Then letting go. Allow the wisdom to remain, but the sting I shall never feel again. Pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. Wow. Separation, time apart from your partner is on the horizon. Okay. And the final two that we have is sexual energy. All right. And changes. Okay. Very, very interesting oracle cards here. I'm excited to dive into these. All right, so Persephone and experience really standing out to me. So like I was saying, you know, there's an innocence about you and it's still devoted to you. Like I was saying, it forgives you. This innocent part of you is saying, I forgive you. It's fine. It's fine that you've been trying to sort of escape me, you know. I forgive you. I'm still devoted to you. But there are vices, addictions, habits, behaviors that are toxic that you need to let go of. You need to let go of. And Venus will be helping you to sever these invisible ties and tight attachments. But pay attention to the red flags, okay? Really pay attention to the red flags. And separation for some of you is coming. For your relationships, or it could be your vice or toxic habits, you know? But for some of you, your vice or your toxic habits is your relationships. It could be the people or person or partner that's in your life. But we also have the cards here of sexual energy and changes. So there's something that you may need to explore sexually. It could be with your sexual preferences or desires that you've overlooked or neglected for too long, as well as this could mean you establish a deeper connection to sex. Because with Juno and the Moon here, this is confirming that as well, because the Moon rules the innermost part of us, our instincts, the emotional aspect of ourself that we hide behind layers of the ego, because this is the part of us that we desperately work to protect. This is the softest part of us, right? And Juno represents divine union, relationships, the relationship aspect in our chart. And we usually use Juno when we're looking at like a synastry chart, something like that, but it shows how equal two people could be in a relationship. It shows how they match up, right? So this is telling me that you need or are craving a deeper emotional connection to your partner or in your romantic life. It's not always about your partner. It's not always about our partner validating us, right? That's not even something to ask for or want, but it is good. It is also good to expect your partner to recognize who they are with concerning you. Your partner should know and celebrate the fact that they are with you and that they are with somebody that is really, really valuable, that is really, really special. Your partner should be able to recognize that. Your partner should be grateful of that. Your partner should celebrate that. And the way that they celebrate that is through actions of respect. It's not about your partner validating who you are. We don't need our partners to do that, right? You don't need your partner to validate who you are. You know who you are. It's about them recognizing who they are with. And we should expect that out of our partners, just like our partners should expect that out of us. You shouldn't be the only one that sees yourself as priceless and amazing. You shouldn't be the only one devoted to seeing who you truly are. Okay, so there's some changes coming here where your partner does see you for who you are, or there's people coming into your life that are going to be able to recognize who you are. As well as this Venus retrograde for very many of my pile 3s is really going to help you reconnect back to your own body, to sex. For some of you, you may feel a lot of shame when it comes to sex, when it comes to expressing yourself sexually, when it comes to your own sexual energy. For some of you, it could be maybe like sort of going celibate for this Venus retrograde, or maybe this is you exploring a little bit more of your sexuality, exploring a little bit more, being a little bit more open sexually. Okay, this could be also kind of happening with this Venus retrograde in Gemini. Gemini is very open, very, very open. Okay, Gemini is not closed off. It does not discriminate. And Venus, like I was saying, is all about sex, sensuality, pleasure, satisfaction, stimulation. So she really does love to be stimulated physically. And there's something here about maybe being inexperienced when it comes to your sexual energy, maybe feeling ashamed when it comes to expressing that sexual energy. So I believe Venus retrograde for very many of my pile 3s is going to help you sort of get into a relationship with your body where you see sex as just a natural thing. You see sex as actually a powerful thing. You see it as a part of you, an internal part of you, and you see it as a way to really connect to other people in your life in one of the deepest ways imaginative, where the both of you are actually interacting or exchanging with each other's souls, where it's not just a physical thing, but it's actually an exchange of energy. It's an exchange of your souls. It's an exchange of your spiritual energy. So yeah, for sure, this is a very, very, very deeply intense Venus retrograde for my pile 3s. She's, like I said, she's going to be triggering those really deep embedded parts of you with the moon being here, and the parts of your relationship. So if your relationship seems to end, or if you need just some time apart, that might be pretty normal, but pay attention to the red flags when it comes to your relationships as well, pile 3, okay? Because there's a lot of changes coming for sure, and you're going to be letting go of something. But I believe that that's the way that you can redevote yourself to yourself. And I believe that that's one of the biggest things that Venus retrograde is working on with my pile 3s, is really establishing a beautiful relationship with yourself and with your own body, which is amazing. So yeah, this is all that I'm saying for my pile 3s. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I do pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your beautiful guides, my beautiful guides, our higher self, amazing spirit itself, and of course Venus, for coming through and delivering this message today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the worlds. Bye now. All right, and pile number 4, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with your tarot cards before getting to your oracle cards. And this tarot card all the way over here to the left will be showing me the things that Venus retrograde is actually trying to highlight or bring attention to in your life, okay? So let's go ahead and start here. And the card that we have here is the 4 of Swords. Okay. So time, pile 4. Venus retrograde is highlighting your relationship with age and time. Feeling like you don't have enough time to rest, relax, laugh, enjoy yourself, take care of yourself, cry, grieve, hurt, or just simply do nothing. There's a fear I'm picking up here of doing nothing, or possibly even a fear of aging. Your self-worth is tied into what you do and maybe how you do it, but definitely the quantity of work as well. Venus retrograde wants my pile 4s to understand that time is a resource that will never run out. In the 3D realm, we deal with limited quantities and resources, but you are a limitless being. So here you are, a limitless being existing in a place built from limitations. So you may struggle with integrating your own infinite energy into a place that feels like there isn't enough. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough opportunities, not enough chances, not enough resources, but there actually is. That's just an illusion that this realm has created. of lack. This realm, this planet, this 3D place has created the illusion of lack for the purposes of greed, for the purposes of power, for the purposes of influence, to scare people, to scare us. But let me tell you something, this realm, this world comes from this limitless, infinite universe. And anything that the universe creates or makes is also infinite, is also abundant. Something that is infinite is not going to make something that is finite. Something that is limitless is not going to make something that is limited. That creation is the product of something that is infinite, of something that is limitless. So that product will also stem from something limitless, something infinite, something eternal, something abundant. So there is going to be abundance in that product. There is abundance in this realm. There is abundance in this life and in this world. It is an illusion that has been created, that has been stirred up to put fear into the hearts and minds of people. That's the way we can be controlled. But that's a different topic for a different day. But I am saying all that because it does make sense that you may struggle, like I said, with integrating your own infinite energy into a place that feels like there isn't enough. So the Four of Swords here is a very defiant card in tarot because it says, even though I am on borrowed time, I'm still going to use some of it to do absolutely nothing. It's like taking money and setting it on fire for the hell of it. That's what it feels like when we take time off or treat ourselves, right? Especially my pile fours, you guys can probably really relate to that sentiment there, that when I take time off, I feel like an asshole, you know? And there's this feeling of guilt here. To treat yourself or to take time off, to rest. But where is that guilt coming from? So Venus is really highlighting the restrictions that you've put on yourself and the resources that you've told yourself there isn't enough of. She's challenging you to see that there is more than enough. She's challenging you to step into your abundant, limitless being. She's challenging you to step into your own boundless, limitless potential. Does our 3D body have limitations? Will this 3D body one day pass away? Yes, of course. This 3D body is a part of this 3D realm. Everything in the 3D realm decomposes, decays, and then dies. But our energy is sourced from something that is limitless, and that's what makes us multifaceted. That's what makes us multidimensional. That's what makes us eternal. So she is challenging you to step into your abundant, boundless, infinite potential, even though you are living in a limited body or a limited plane. So she's challenging you to see that there is more than enough. And matter of fact, when we rest, we're not taking our borrowed time and doing nothing with it, because rest is a very vital part to our physical body and to our physical well-being. So whatever you are afraid to spend, spend it. Don't be frugal with your time and energy because those resources are very infinite. You will never run out of them. So rest, pile 4. Take some time to not worry and bother with the things that are just going to be there tomorrow. You're going to be able to pick them up and deal with them tomorrow. So rest for now. Rest for today. Rest for the time being and pick it up later. Let's go ahead and check out this card in the middle here to see what it is that Venus wants you to look out for during this retrograde, okay? And the card that we have here is the 7 of Coins. Okay. So again, the theme of time and age coming back up. The thing you need to look out for, pile 4, is your notion of time and age. So we can't see everything happening in the metaphysical plane before things manifest into physical form. They are and have been existing on the energetic plane. So there's things happening in other dimensions. And when we rush the energetic process from this 3D realm, we are rushing a process that needs every second and minute of gestation before coming into form. So if we rush something, we risk bringing that thing in off schedule. And then that's asking for a lot of issues and unnecessary problems that could have easily been avoided. So watch out for impatience, rushing, or forcing. That is just simply disrespectful to time when we rush, when we disrupt the process. So it's important to know that divine timing is present here. And when we go off the clock of the universe, we're never early, we're never late, we are always punctual, and things fall right into place. So respect time in the process. Don't rush things and don't hold off the inevitable. Just allow. There's a lot of receiving that Venus retrograde is trying to introduce you to, pile 4, where you get accustomed to flowing with the rhythms of not just your personal life, but life happening all around you. The universe, in other words, happening all around you. So that's really what Venus is trying to get you to do. She's trying to get you on schedule, on time with the clock of the universe, with the clock of the divine. She wants you to get on schedule with divine timing. That's really what Venus retrograde is trying to bring to you. And that's what she wants you to watch out for is make sure that you're not being impatient. Make sure that you're not trying to rush, force, or dominate, because if you do, you're just going to throw off the clock of the divine timing. And you don't want to do that, because when you go with divine timing, things fall perfectly into place. That's the only time where things come out perfectly, is when we work with the divine, when we collaborate with the divine, with the universe. So she wants you to collaborate with, okay, and not work against. All right, so let's go on ahead and check out this card all the way over here to the right to see what blessings it is that Venus retrograde is trying to bring to my pile fours. And we have here the Six of Coins. Okay, yeah. You see this pile four? If you allow patience, you will have more than enough. You'll never worry about there not being enough ever again, because the universe is about to show you just how infinite, vast, and expansive it truly is. If you allow it time to work and do the things it needs to do, you will see how things line right up in place without you having to do very much. So my pile fours, many of you have been working hard and relentlessly towards something. So whenever I see messages like this from Spirit urging you to slow down, I always get really, really excited, because that means your manifestation, your blessings are just around the corner. You've done the work, like the man in the Seven of Pentacles, right? You've done the work in the Seven of Pentacles. Now all he has to do is wait and allow the seeds that he has planted to grow, and allow the earth and Mother Nature, this force that is outside of his control, to do her own thing. It's time for you, pile four, to sit back. You've done the work. The blessings that's coming to you is everything that you've been working for. This is really amazing. So it's really just time to sit back right now. I'm really actually excited for you guys, because this is like, oh yeah, this is right around the corner. This is right around the corner. It's just a matter of sitting back, being patient. That's the other part of manifestation that no one ever talks about. No one ever talks about how difficult it is to just sit back and do nothing. We always talk about, doing these rituals, doing these elaborate rituals, and sort of like work with this crystal, work with that herb, work with that oil, set these intentions, do. But no one ever talks about the waiting period, the resting period, right? This is the resting period. Right now, the universe is pregnant with your blessings, with your manifestation, and you have to wait for the universe to give birth to it. But it's happening. It's just a matter of waiting. The very first oracle card that we have here is the ninth house. I know, ninth house being ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter, and it says here this is the house of higher and elevated thought, as well as expansion. It covers long distance travels, foreign languages, inspiration, optimism, publications, higher education, spirituality, philosophy, religion, ideals, morals, and ethics. Beautiful. The next card that we have here is Destiny and Challenges, North Node. Wow, you guys, this is a big deal. The next two cards that we have here is Mama Rilla. I think I'm saying that right. The Moon. And then we have Yuki Anna. I think I'm saying that right. Stillness. The next card that we have is Beauty. I have a form which is divine. I allow what is within to shine. Beautiful. For your relationship cards, we have Calling in Your Soulmate. Look at this. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. Oh my God. Healing family issues, your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Wow. Finances and careers. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. And then the final card that we have here is, look at this, you guys. You can't make this up. Retreat. All right, pile 4. So let's start off with calling in your soulmate, finances, and career, and healing family issues. I told you guys, look at all the things that the universe is working on for you guys. It is working on your divine partner, your material blessings, and healing your family drama. It's healing your material and personal life. Venus retrograde is working on for you. The moon and stillness, you guys. The moon and stillness. What did I tell you? Be still. You've already done everything you can do or need to do. Retreat is also here. Do I need to say anything? Beauty, this again is attraction, things coming to you now because you have done the work. When a farmer plows a field, it makes the soil attractive to the elements that need to combine to grow the seeds, right? In other words, in case I lost you, you've done the work. And because you've done the work, you've created space and opportunity to invite in your blessings. Blessings are attracted to space and opportunity because energy needs room to come in. You've provided the room. As well as on a physical level, Venus is blessing you with physical beauty to attract in a divine partner, calling in your soulmate. If you don't have a relationship already. And if you do, then this is an increase or enhancement in attraction and chemistry. North Node, your destiny and ninth house is all about faith, believing in the things that you cannot see, but you can feel them. That farmer in the Seven of Pentacles, he knows he's done the work. He can feel the seeds that he's planted in the ground beneath his feet. You can feel the space and opportunity that you have created in your life that is calling out to your blessings. You are attracting in your future, pile 4, and ninth house is here to say, believe in it. Believe. That's all you have to do. All you have to do, pile 4, is believe in the work that you have done. You're attracting a lot of your future to you. You're attracting a lot of your future. And this is really going to show you how to have faith in yourself. Ninth house is all about resonance. It's all about faith. It's all about the things that we have to believe in because we don't necessarily have something tangible to grip, so it's all about higher education and learning. It's all about resonating with the things that connect to us spiritually, because when we can't hold something or grip something in physical form, we have to instead choose to believe in it. We have to instead choose to believe that it actually exists, right? Like when it comes to the divine, when it comes to spirit, we can't necessarily see spirit. We can't necessarily grab spirit, not in the physical form, right? So spirit is something that we have to choose to believe in. You can't necessarily grip on to your blessings just yet because they're not here in physical form, but you can rest assured in the fact that you have done the work. And you have to believe in what it is that you have done so far, that the way your blessings come into that physical form, that the way they manifest into physical form, they will materialize quicker that way. When you believe, when you have confidence in the work that you've done, you're attracting a lot of your North Node. You're actually walking towards your North Node. The North Node is the area that feels furthest away from us. We feel so far away from that North Node. It's interesting because the ninth house is ruled by Sagittarius, right? And Sagittarius is the constellation. That is the zodiac sign, the archer that is pointing towards, he is pointing his bow and arrow towards the center of our galaxy, where it is that we first came from, right? And so this is showing me like, this is where I come from. This is my origin. This is the work that I've done. I want this blessing to come in. This is the work that I've done. This is the origin of that blessing. And I have put it out there into the universe that this is what I want. So this is you walking, making that really long journey towards your future, towards your North Node. So this is a really big deal. And this might be why you're feeling very pressured about the time that it takes. Did I do everything right? Why isn't this happening faster? You may be really concerned about that, especially if you are looking towards bringing in a person, a divine partner. You may be worried about them getting a little bit older. Maybe I want to start a family. Maybe I want to get married. Maybe I want to have kids. Maybe I want to do this, that, or the third, whatever the case. Maybe I want to do these things and I feel like I'm running out of time. I feel like I'm getting older. Like I said, there is a fear of time and or age here. So, this is coming through to say, don't worry about that. You're walking right towards your future. Everything is happening right on time. Everything is on schedule with the divine. You just have to believe in that. You have to trust in that. You have to know that these blessings, your North Node, your future is resonating with you because you are due that. You are promised that. And the universe always delivers on its promises. Okay, so this is something that's coming to you. You don't have to worry about these things. So for sure, this is a really beautiful spread for my pile fours. I'm really excited for you guys because you're really, really close to receiving your blessings. Just be patient, have faith in yourself, okay? So this is all that I'm seeing for my pile fours. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I do pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your beautiful guides, my beautiful guides, our higher self, and amazing spirit itself for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and please keep conquering the world. Bye now.